Now, as we have discussed countless times on this program, as the Christo-fascists continue to make waves and basically taking over the MAGA wing of the Republican Party, the MAGA wing of the country, we are seeing more and more of these anti-LGBTQ laws being passed in states, red states all across the country, and in swing states as well, with larger numbers of Republican legislators at the helm. And most notably, the attacks on the trans community across the country. It's inevitable that something like this would happen, and so this is going to be a little bit of a bigger one here. Now, I came across this article in Raw Story. Originally, I came across this article first, and it made me reflect on some things that I had come across. Well, for instance, and I'm going to use this as a feature here. So my dude Mike Figueredo from the Humanist Report did a fantastic, I mean, my God, and I'll leave a link in the description on the segment here for his piece on this, or on, not on this, but on a similar topic that I'm about to discuss with you. That just I missed it, I guess, in the original broadcast. I try to watch you guys' show. We mutual follows on Twitter, so what. I try to catch a show whenever I can, but he did this segment that I just thought was absolutely incredible. I caught it just in the last couple of days, and it was so good I watched it twice. So I want to feature some of the it was so good I'm going to recreate it. Some of the content that they'd featured there. Absolutely mind-blowing stuff. I didn't even know. It took me to a whole nother level of understanding when it comes to the queer community, and specifically the trans community, and its history and the impact that the impact the bigots and Christo-fascists have had on the community internationally, if you will. And we're going to jump in that in just a second, but I want to show you this article that I saw in Raw Story to set the tone, and hopefully not to set the pace. Jesus Christ. So Raw Story reports. This is from yesterday. GOP-run state vows to ignore judge's order after losing civil rights case to the ACLU. What? No, no judgments, folks. It's no sugar. Okay. So on Thursday, the Associated Press reported that Montana is threatening to defy a judge's order against their rule that makes it virtually impossible for transgender people, not children. That fucking word is people. Do I need to enlarge the screen for you? Let me do that real quick. I want everybody to fucking pay real close fucking attention to this right quick for me one time. Especially the cisgender folks and, maybe some of the TERFs in the off chance that any of you scum are watching my show here. So on Thursday, the Associated Press reported that Montana is threatening to defy a federal judge's order against their rule that makes it virtually impossible for transgender people to get their gender changed on their birth certificate. The fuck? On their birth certificate? Somebody come down to Indiana and ask the Amish about this one time. I'm just fucking saying, folks. The controversy comes after a bill signed into law in 2021 by GOP Governor Greg Gianforte that said, I assume that's how you pronounce his last name, I don't give a shit, that said the changes could only be made if the person underwent a surgical procedure. Yeah. So, it's funny because I've heard a few folks, and shit, I've said it myself, not that it's the most sensitive thing that's ever come out of my mouth regarding, folks in the trans community. But I heard it a couple of times, and it rang a bell, and I thought to myself, well, Jesus Christ, if that didn't make sense to, these conservative assholes, I don't know what would. That if somebody wants to cut their fucking dick off, you should probably believe them when they tell you who they are. If somebody wants to cut any part of their fucking body off because it's who they feel that they fucking are, you should probably believe when they say this shit. It just makes too much sense to me. It just sounds too much like right to call him a fucking liar. I'm just saying. Now these fucking dirtbags are refusing to allow people to change their legal information, their birth certificate, unless the proof is in the pudding. They want you to go ahead and do that, or you don't get to claim that, or what it just, what the, so fucking backwards. After that law was temporarily put on hold with the court finding that this was too vague a requirement, state officials stepped in and administratively issued a rule restoring it and making it even stricter. The legal actions against the new rule were brought by the American Civil Liberties Union of Montana. District Court Judge Michael Moses chided attorneys for the state during a hearing in Billings for circumventing his April order, there you go, that temporarily blocked a 2021 Montana law that made it harder to change birth certificates, reported Matthew Brown and Amy Beth Hansen. Moses said there was no question that state officials violated his earlier order by creating the new rule. Moses said his order reinstates a 2017 Department of Public Health and Human Services rule that allowed people to update their gender on their birth certificates by filing an affidavit with the department. However, the state said it would disregard the ruling, said the report. The department thoroughly evaluated the judge's vague April 2022 decision and crafted our final rule to be consistent with the decision. It's unfortunate that the judge's ruling today does not square with his vague April decision, said Charlie Brereton, director of the Department of Public Health and Human Services. Such open defiance of a judicial order is highly unusual. Montana is one of the small handful of states to heavily restrict changing gender on a birth certificate, noted the report. Only Tennessee, Oklahoma, West Virginia have similar rules. Idaho and Ohio have also previously enacted similar rules, but they were struck down in 2020 because, you know, WTF, bro. And, you know, so what the fuck, right? Now the part that loops this around to Mike is, I don't even know how to jump into this. I caught his piece, and it was making reference to, anti-LGBTQ, anti-trans, push from the MAGA jagoffs. And, I'll just make it short and sweet. So he referenced this article in Scientific American that absolutely blew my mind, and I will do everything I can to remember to leave a link in the description. I'm really fucking bad about that. I literally have to go back and watch all these just to remember what all I put, because I'm not taking notes here. So I hope you're taking notes. Leave me a message in the comments and be like, hey, what's that link? And I'll find the link for you, right? So Scientific American, I don't know if you could see that real well. The forgotten history of the world's first trans clinic, folks. Can you fucking hear me now? The forgotten history of the world's first trans clinic. And again, I want to thank Mike Figueredo, Humanist Report, for putting this in my, on my desk. Because my God, I had no fucking idea. Okay. And I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's like a fucking book, but I highly recommend that you read it to yourselves because it's a good book. It's a good read. Late one night on the cusp of the 20th century, Magnus Hirschfeld, a young doctor, found a soldier on the doorstep of his practice in Germany. Distraught and agitated, the man had come to confess himself an Urning, and a word used to refer to a homosexual man. It explained the cover of darkness. To speak of such things was dangerous. Again, this is, very much so. It explained the infamous paragraph 175 in the German criminal code made homosexuality illegal. A man so accused could be stripped of his ranks, titles, and thrown in jail. Hirschfeld understood the soldier's plight. He was himself both homosexual and Jewish, and did his best to comfort his patient, but the soldier had already made up his mind. It was the eve of his wedding, an event he could not face shortly after he shot himself. Jesus Christ. And so yeah. I'll leave the link in the description. I will definitely remember this one because, again, my mind was blown. I'll give you the short and the sweet of who he was and what he did. And I had to Google this myself because, again, I wasn't even sure. I'd never heard of this before, but it was, again, in reference to, I think it was an OAN segment where they were talking about book burning. And there was another article, and you just Google it. All right, I'll leave you the link in the description for the video and for the Scientific American article. But there was a video clip that he showed, a segment from OAN, where it had basically discussed book burning, and the image that they used was of the book burning that happened from the library of Magnus Hirschfeld. And Magnus Hirschfeld, well, let's take a look at the wiki page, because that'll give us the short and sweet of it, right? Got that in for you. So the Institute for Sexualwissenschaft was an early private sexology research institute in Germany from 1919 to 1933. The name is variously translated as Institute of Sex Research, Institute of Sexology, Institute for Sexology, Institute for the Science of Sexuality. The institute was a nonprofit foundation situated in Tiergarten, Berlin. It was headed by Magnus Hirschfeld, who since 1897 had run the Wissenschaftlich Humanitaris Komitee, which campaigned on progressive and rational grounds for LGBT rights and tolerance. The committee published the long-running journal Jahrbuch für Sexual Zwischenstufen. Boy, that's a new one for me. Hirschfeld built a unique library on same-sex love and eroticism. The Nazi book burnings in Berlin included the archives of the Institute. After the Nazis gained control of Germany in the 1930s, the Institute and its libraries were destroyed as part of a Nazi government censorship program by youth brigades, who burned its books, documents in the streets. So, yeah, I'm going to just go ahead and skip down to transsexualism. Point of reference, right? Magnus Hirschfeld coined the term transsexualism. Damn. In 1923. Damn. I didn't even know that. I kind of feel like a dumbass. Probably a reason for it, because I didn't even know that. This identified the clinical category which his colleague Harry Benjamin would later develop in the United States. Only about 30 years after its coining by Hirschfeld did the term enter wider use. With Benjamin's work, transgender people were on the staff of the Institute, as well as being among the clients there. Various endocrinologic and surgical services were offered, including the first modern sex reassignment surgery in the 1930s. What? Wow. Hirschfeld also worked with Berlin's police department to curtail the arrest of cross-dressed individuals, including those suspected of wearing certain clothing in connection with sex work, through the creation of transvestite passes issued on behalf of the Institute to those who had a personal desire to wear clothing associated with a gender other than the one they were assigned to them at birth. That's actually really fucking slick. I'm impressed. So let's jump into this. In late February 1933, as the influence of Enstrom weakened, the Nazi Party launched its purge of gay, then known as homophile, clubs in Berlin, outlawed sex publications, and banned organized gay groups. As a consequence, many fled Germany, including, for example, Erika Mann. In March 1933, the Institute's main administrator, Kurt Hiller, was sent to a concentration camp where he was treated with great brutality, though he later fled Germany and survived the war. The buildings were later taken over by the Nazis for their own purposes. They were bombed out, ruined in 1944. They were demolished sometime in the mid-50s. Hirschfeld tried in vain to reestablish his institute in Paris, but he died in France in 1935. On May 1933, Hirschfeld was in Ascona, Switzerland, almost said Schweizerland. Switzerland, the Deutsche Studentenschaft made an organized attack on the Institute of Sex Research. Dora Derken-Richter, the first known person to undergo complete male-to-female gender reassignment surgery, is presumed to have been killed in this or a subsequent attack on the Institute. A few days later, the Institute's library and archives were publicly hauled and burned out in the streets in the Opernplatz. Between 12,000 and 20,000 books and journals, even a large number of images and sex subjects were destroyed. This included art journals, charts concerning cases of intersexuality, which were prepared for the International Medical Congress, among other things. Also seized were the Institute's extensive lists of names and addresses. In the midst of the burning, Joseph Goebbels gave a political speech to a crowd of around 40,000 people. The leaders of the Deutsche Studentenschaft also proclaimed that their Feuerspuche, also proclaimed their own Feuerspuche. Also books by Jewish writers, pacifists such as Erich Remarque, All Quiet on the Western Front, anyone? Were removed from local public libraries, and Humboldt's Universität were burned. That's, they got, well, I mean, if you haven't read All Quiet on the Western Front, fucking read it. You got some time, okay? While many fled into exile, radical Adolf Brandt made a stand in Germany for 5 months after the book burnings, but in November 33, he had given up gay activism. On 28th of June 34, Hitler conducted a purge of gay men in the ranks of the SA wing of the Nazis, which involved murdering them and then, out of the long knives. This was then followed by stricter laws on homosexuality and the roundup of gay men. The address lists seized from the Institute are believed to have aided Hitler in these actions. Many tens of thousands of arrestees found themselves ultimately in slave labor or death camps. Kalkisa committed suicide in 1938 when the Germans invaded Czechoslovakia, and his heir, a lawyer called Fein, was murdered in 1942 during deportation. So yeah, did not fucking know that, and I got a strong ass feeling that the vast majority of my audience, probably the vast majority of folks who will come across this show, did not know that, did not know anything about that. So, wow. We all know about book burnings. We all be posting that shit on Twitter and Facebook and wherever, about the book bannings and whatnot, and comparing the Christo-fascists, here in the U.S. to the original fascists, across, Central and Southern Europe, of the previous century, similarly positioned. But did you know that? I did not know that. I had no fucking, all of that was brand new information to me. And so for that, wow. So again, thanks to, Mikey F for pulling that out and putting that in front of my eyes, because if you missed his piece, it's fantastic. Kind of goes a little bit of a different direction. He obviously was citing a few different articles and sources, but that Scientific American, give it a read. You'll be quite surprised. I went the lazy route and went to Wikipedia page, so hey, it is what it is, folks. We're on a time crunch here. I got shit to do today. But yeah. So from the 30s to the modern era, Yahoo Finance published this article, strangely enough. Smyrna High, mother upset by school resource officer's offensive remarks to her gay son. The Schmidt just keeps on piling up, don't it? Jesus Christ. Smyrna High mother Yesenia Cruz wants a school resource officer fired after making insulting remarks to her gay son. Yeah. Are you a girl? The officer says on audio. The son recorded on his phone. Smart kid. While being interrogated by the SRO, Matt King. Are you a girl? I'm a male, the son says. Are you sure? Because you expletive fight like a girl. Cruz said she grounded her son for his role in a fight, and he's serving a 5-day out-of-school suspension until he returns to Smyrna High on Thursday. The mother also wants the SRO held accountable for the way he spoke to her 14-year-old son, freshman, who several years before told her that he was gay. Rutherford County Sheriff's Office spokeswoman Lisa Marchesoni confirmed the SRO is being investigated. I mean, you gotta love how they just drag their feet with this shit. And I don't think I need to explain to my audience, what the suicide rates are of folks within the queer community, specifically of its youngest members, in comparison to the straight and Swiss. I'm still off on that Schweizerland thing. in comparison to straight and cis, folks of a similar age and otherwise background. That's what your Google's for. The the RCSO is aware that the SRO Matt King was seen on a highly edited video speaking inappropriately to a juvenile while investigating an assault on another juvenile. Marcia Sony said, the situation is being reviewed and appropriate action will be taken. Hopefully. Although the audio has been edited by Broadcast News to avoid the vulgar words, and we use plenty of naughty words on this program, and rest assured we've got the audio, Cruz stands by the accuracy of the original audio after her son was in a fight because he was upset over how a girl had been treated by another male student. So some male student is doing something shitty and the kid walks up and he's like, hey, fuck, probably, I don't know, for the dialogue. And then gets into a fight. And then the school resource officer is like, hey, are you some kind of a girl? Because you fight like a girl. Well, to that school resource officer, hopefully you end up losing your job like a little bitch. Just saying. Wow. How do you fucking we're going to investigate this situation. We've got to make sure that, come on, folks. Definitely can't wait for the follow-up on this one. The mother also defended the recording's accuracy on Facebook. I'm the mother of the student in this audio, and let me tell you, this is not edited. She posted, I have the original recording. I'm not going to rest until the SRO pays for his actions. Cruz questions if other students have faced similar interrogation by the SRO. And yes, as I say, we do have the audio here. Or at least we have a copy of the audio. This was posted by Marjorie Gaylor Queen. Yeah, that's true. That's Marjorie Gaylor Queen. I'm going to enjoy that for a couple more seconds and then move on. A school resource officer in Tennessee was caught on tape verbally abusing a gay student. So this is SRO speaking to a gay male student after fighting a student multiple girls have accused of SA. And this is from the TikTok here. Assuming it's the mother's TikTok or potentially shared. Actually, this may not be the mother. This may just be someone reacting to it. But anyway, the audio.
Are you a girl? Are you a girl?
I'm a male.
Are you sure? Because you fucking fight like a girl. Pull somebody's hair. That's a fucking bitch move, man.
Why are we giving attitude?
Fuck you, man. What attitude you give out there? You was
fucking all stuff on my best friend.
Oh, shut up. That's your fucking fault. You know that. You don't know that.
You can't defend her.
Apparently neither
she was fucking lying.
Girl. God, please. Good? You good, man? Anything where? Wait, ours. We'll shut this girl. Shut the girl up in the office.
Well, it sounds like there's definitely another witness to this dialogue here. I'm assuming I'm not a criminal investigator, but it definitely did sound like there were two adult males potentially speaking to each other on this audio file. So maybe go ask that other asshole who didn't tell him, hey, bro, why the fuck you talking to some fucking kid like this? Jesus Christ. Like, why do you sound like a little bitch, SRO Matt King? But I mean, I guess it's maybe because he wanted to, fucking lose his job too. Because, if there's any justice in the world, that asshole is going to also be very much, losing his shit. But again, from one story to the next, this is what we can expect when it comes to these dipshits and their treatment of folks in the queer community, which is why I am perfectly fine making it my business to tell Christo-fascists, homophobes, transphobes, or yes, even people who are in some way or another outside of my community, who enable or otherwise allow for transphobes and homophobes to feel safe and justified also to go fuck themselves, which they very much can. And I think I've said all that I need to say about that matter, either on the show or on Twitter or on some other form of social media as well. So you keep plugging away at this bullshit, and good people will continue to stand in solidarity with members of the queer community, because my God, when it comes to allies or, again, accomplices, if ever marginalized people needed them, it's certain, at least in this country, it certainly feels like now is the time for us to all be coming together and standing in solidarity with one another. So anyway, I'm gonna take a short break, jump right back into it.